Welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. Pull up a chair and kick up your feet as you get ready to enjoy some of the industry's most entertaining and actionable Dynasty content on the planet. We're talking veterans, rookies, sleepers, and oh yeah, you know the crew has those dad jokes ready for you. So let's not wait any longer and bring on the host or some combination of Doug, James, and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. The first week of the playoffs are in the books. We're not here to talk real football as much as we are Dynasty, but definitely some entertaining games and some shocking surprises. We may touch on that a little bit here and there. I'm here with Tyler Gunther and James Crease for this episode of the Dynasty Happy Hour. We're going to bring you some news. We're going to read some ads because that's what we do here. And we are going to redraft the 2022 and 2023 rookie classes. We're going to mash them together, and then we're going to draft. Ooh, spirit fingers. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. You would have seen that dope spirit finger move. If you didn't, you don't know what you're missing. So thank you in advance. Boys, how we feeling this week? Tyler, you're at work, just chilling, looking at your phone. I'm making sure you're paying attention. I'm calling you out. How you doing over there?
I'm good. Rumors have it your old coach is coming over to our team. The Falcons.
We'll see.
The rumors have it that he wants a struggling team, a team that isn't playing like it should. You know, the
Dallas?
Falcons. Dallas,
Philly?
him and Jerry will bump heads.
Yeah,
like
that
crazy.
won't go well. No.
And if Philly actually wouldn't be too bad because that defense is struggling. That offense would be fine. But yeah, for me, the Falcons, I'm getting very excited about this coaching hire. And your team already got their coach.
We did. It's true. James, how's things going there in Jersey?
We got our first snow in the last 2 years the other night.
Nice. Yeah, we got some snow today and a few days ago. So
2 inches.
yeah,
Hard
so
snow.
You got Tyler.
Yeah.
In New Jersey.
You got a good Tyler dusting.
2 inches, hard Tyler.
Here in Minnesota, we got like 5 to 8 inches. So let's call that a Doug.
Yeah, I'm slightly above average dick energy. So
what a Viking.
That is well known. Absolutely. Before we roll into it, I just wanted to shout out to our sponsor, Underdog. Letting you know it's the funnest way to play fantasy. I had a couple of big bets over the weekend, some YOLO bets, some prop bets, because that's the way I like to do some parlays. So that's the way I spend my Underdog money, just for fun. You know, I don't play for big wins like James. He's the big baller of us all when it comes to the old gambling game. But James is on Underdog making money, which is always great. I do not make money, so I'm apparently not very good at it. But I want you to be good at it, and you can use code DHH to have your deposit up to $100 matched right away. Now, you can do stuff involving the playoff games that are coming. You can play basketball right now. You can do hockey. Before you know it, baseball season is going to be right around the corner. All different ways to play on Underdog Fantasy. They're going to be doing Best Ball Mania when that comes up again, which is the largest contest in DFS when it comes to fantasy football. That'll be coming up in the spring, I'm sure. I think it was $3 million last year to the winner. Be interesting to see what it goes to this year. I'm going to say $4 million. They're probably going to push it an extra milli. So make sure you check out Underdog today. Once again, code DHH, have that deposit up to $100 matched right away. All right, let's get into some coaching news. Obviously, Tyler, he's captain, put the horse in front of the cart, or the cart in front of the horse, rather. So we heard about Bill Belichick, obviously interviewing for the Falcons job. He was amicably let go, or parting of the ways here in New England. And New England hired former player and top 10 draft pick, Gerard Mayo, who's been an assistant. He's been a linebackers coach for the last few years on the New England staff. And he actually had it baked into his contract that he would be Bill Belichick's successor. I like the hire. He's a completely different type of personality. Very, very intelligent. So Gerard Mayo, I'm looking forward to see how that goes. And he was one of my favorite Patriot players when he was on the team. I have, I think, 3 or 4 different autograph pieces for Mayo. He was one of my favorites. Also my favorite condiment. So maybe those two things go hand in hand.
Mustard.
Kraft mayo.
Mustard?
Kraft mayo.
Bro. Mustard?
It's there.
Honey mustard I'm down with. Regular mustard?
Mustard.
No. That's going to
Spicy
be a
brown.
Midwest thing.
No, you can just do anything with mustard. It's the only condiment you need for a burger. It's the only condiment you need for a hot dog.
Wow, the food takes are bad. Where's
bet
Bo?
you it's yellow,
Where's Bo when
too.
we need him? Bo's the food take guy. But anyway,
French is yellow mustard. Yeah,
Oy, oy,
sounds
oy.
like a Tyler meal.
NFL Network's Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport report the Chargers and Raiders have interest in Jim Harbaugh, as well as him maybe re-signing with Michigan if he has a no-fire clause due to the Spygate type stuff going on. I heard that today. Pete Carroll is out as the Seahawks coach. He is now a front office advisor, which he pretty much got fired and just agreed to stay with the team. He's 72 years old, so I could see why like going to a new team probably wouldn't be great for him. So Seahawks have requested to interview former defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who was of the Cowboys, who didn't help his resume over the weekend. So as of right now, teams that do not have coaches, it's the Panthers, Chargers, Commanders, Raiders, Falcons, Titans, and Seahawks. And there might be another one or two here at the end of the playoff run. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin has informed the team that he will return for an 18th season in Pittsburgh. There's been 23 teams that have won a playoff game since Pittsburgh won their last one. I just wanted to throw that out there.
23 different teams?
Yes. Pittsburgh is in the cycle of mediocre. They never have a losing season, but they never win a playoff game. Like, congrats. You're stuck in the middle.
It's like the Steve Fisher of the NFL.
The craziest thing about the Steelers is that team looked light years better with Rudolph.
Without Matt Canada.
Kenny Pickett is in trouble. If not, has no starting.
I think the Steelers are low-key going to make a move for a quarterback in the offseason.
Do you think like a Cousins?
Or a Fields even?
Oh, Fields would be a Tomlin type guy.
If Baker hits the market,
yeah, because
he seems like a Steelers quarterback.
They were thinking about Baker. I remember that as a backup to Kenny Pickett. I'm pretty sure this past offseason.
Yeah. So that's your coaching news for this week. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date as things unfold as the weeks go on here before the season ends. As far as player news, ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Eagles center Jason Kelce told teammates he is retiring after 13 NFL seasons. He's I think a 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, and one of the key factors in the tush push. Jason Kelce, they're going to miss him. So that'll be interesting for Jalen Hurts' fantasy value. I think Hurts will ultimately be fine. But he did score a lot of touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns this year, and a lot of first downs with the help of Jason Kelce. So that'll be an interesting situation to monitor there. And then in terms of injuries, the only major injury over the weekend was to Tyler Higbee. He tore his ACL. That's 2 tight ends now for what's his face, the Detroit. Kirby Joseph took out TJ Hawkinson, tore his ACL, and now Tyler Higbee. So Kirby Joseph, can you knock that off, please?
We're seeing a pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, don't hit in the head, aim low. Where do you want them to tackle? That's the real question.
The chest,
where does
the center, where the heart is.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, you're going to break.
There's no good answer
ribs. Here. Like, look what happened with DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
His
I mean,
tackle went into
you just
the
never.
chest.
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It just can't be like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Bring it up to the competition committee. But could it be Davis Allen's season in 2024? The only tight ends they have on the roster currently for next year is Higbee, who's owed a pretty decent amount of money. Hunter Long, who they traded for, but then missed the season with an injury. And Davis Allen, when he filled in, he's looked pretty good. He was a 5th-round rookie out of Clemson. I liked his profile. I stashed him in a few dynasty leagues. I would do the same if he's available on your waivers and it's a tight end premium league, especially. I think Davis Allen is worth a taxi squad spot. Or if you're a 30-man roster, he can be the 27th to 30th man on your roster because you know what? If anything, the Rams have shown they can draft offensive talent late and it can hit. We're probably going to talk a little bit about Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua later. So maybe they hit on Davis Allen next year. So a situation to monitor there with Tyler Higbee's recovery. But tearing an ACL this late, could he make it for the start of the season? Sure, but I'm not banking on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Trophy Smack, our longest standing sponsor. And I believe we were one of the first podcasts to bring you Trophy Smack. This is just me lobbying to get to the live Scott Fishbowl draft again next year, which I don't know if you heard or saw Scott's tweet. I think he's had like tens of thousands of people apply for Scott Fishbowl next year.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm actually debating on maybe sitting the year out, letting somebody else do it.
I'll still go to the live. If I'm not in it, I'll still go to the live draft and do a draft board.
Yeah.
Like I would still go
fair.
just for that. I mean, I did the whole live draft board and drafted my team and made it in the top 450 this year. So It'd be fun to even if I'm not invited, just to go and see all the guys and gals and do the draft board. So we'll see what happens. But Scott Fish Bowl is going to be packed. It's going to be interesting to see how many teams it's going to be this year and what the theme is. And I just love Scott Fish Bowl. It's just so much fun. And then to see all the tweets about them doing all this stuff with Fantasy Cares, it's awesome.
Christmas shopping.
Wiping out targets nationwide. Scott Fish Bowl for Fantasy Cares. But what I'm here to talk about is Trophy Smack. Your league just wrapped up. You don't have your trophy yet, or you're thinking, like, what do I get? Do I get a belt? Do I get a trophy? Like, I don't know. What you need to do right now, go on trophysmack.com. Maybe you don't see something that you like. Well, guess what? It's completely customizable. If you got a guy named James and he's the FF chef and you're like, you know what? A custom belt. That would be in order. Boom. You can order it right on Trophy Smack. They have the right trophy for you. Not only do they have football, they have hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer. You name it, they have it. And of course, all those losers in your league, if you're looking for a fun punishment, they've got anything from onesies to flags to signs to a toilet bowl, all sorts of fun stuff for the losers of your league too. And use code DHHRING, and when you buy a trophy or a belt, you'll get a free $60 championship ring with your purchase. Want to keep it for yourself? Put it on your desk. Give it to the high scorer who maybe didn't win the whole league. I don't care what you do. Just use code DHHRING. That's all I'm asking. All right. Do we want to talk these wildcard games a little bit? Like maybe a takeaway or two from the weekend?
Jordan Love put his stamp on history, and we now have 3 quarterbacks in the past 40 years, it feels like, for Green Bay. Goff and Baker have cemented their contract extensions, I feel.
Yeah.
Dak will still get his, but McCarthy will probably be fired. What else?
I thought it was interesting with Gabe Davis as a free agent. I was able to pick up Khalil Shakir in a couple of Dynasty leagues this season. I was kind of surprised he was available. And there's no reason why, if Gabe Davis walks in free agency, which he should, they'll probably draft a receiver. Maybe they get a Keon Coleman at the end of the first. That's been mocked to them a lot. There's still a role for Shakir in this offense. And every time he touches the ball, he's just that electric guy. Did you guys see that touchdown he had where his body bent and he wasn't down? And he got back up, juked a guy out of his pants and scored a touchdown. That's the kind of play that Khalil Shakir has shown you and keeps showing you. So a guy like Shakir is a guy that in the offseason, I wouldn't be.
You're forgetting about somebody.
Who?
So they drafted a guy in the 5th round who is a big receiver.
Justin Shorter?
Yes.
Okay.
Fast. We're talking 4.3, 4.4. He's very fast.
He's not going to take Shakir's spot. He might take Davis's spot.
That's what I'm talking about. I think if we're going line into targets, Shorter could be a poor man's Gabe Davis, and they don't have to pay him anything, but he could still be that deep threat to kind of, have the defense worry. And then
he'll have 5 weeks during the season of 0 points, just like Gabe Davis did.
But you you're not going to start him unless you're in a pinch, unlike Gabe Davis, where you're starting because you don't want to miss out on that week. On
that big game, yeah.
But I do think Gabe Davis low-key resigns for like $8 million a year because he's the Marvin Jones Jr.
Kelvin Benjamin. He's the Kelvin Benjamin.
Marvin Jones.
He's the Kelvin Benjamin.
No, he's Marvin Jones because he can actually move.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, Benjamin had a couple good years. So yeah, Shakir was a guy that has been popping for me and did pop again, and he's a guy that I'd be trying to acquire on the cheap. I mean, maybe a mid-third. We'll see how this rookie class shakes out after the combine and the draft, and see what those thirds are valued at. But that's a guy that I wouldn't mind going after at all. James, you see anything? Any players that popped for you?
Really, Jake Ferguson. Oh my goodness,
3 touchdowns, that'll do it.
3 touchdown game. That's what you wish
catches.
For. Yeah.
That's the reason why I would try to get Schoonmaker thrown in.
I said
because
that
every time the Cowboys have these tight ends, they can't afford to pay them long term because they're going to be up against it when it comes salary cap. I think Ferguson's a free agent after next year, possibly.
Yeah, it might be this year or next.
No, he's played 2 years.
This is year 3.
Yeah, so he could be signed through next year. But Schoonmaker, they have good draft capital on him. He did catch a couple of touchdowns this year. So that's the guy I would want to try to get as a throw-in, and you kind of sit on him, just like you may have done with Ferguson when Dalton Schultz was there. I know a lot of people liked Peyton Hendershot as well, but that's the recipe at tight end for Dallas. They're going to find guys because they're good at it, and they're just going to keep rotating them out. So try to get Schoonmaker.
Yeah, and Puka Nakua is the wide receiver 1 for the Rams going into next year.
Yes.
Without a doubt. So if you can get any kind of discount because people are like, Cooper Kupp's going to be healthy. Cooper Kupp looks like a shell of himself. He can't run, it feels like.
DLF ADP just came out for January, and Puka is wide receiver 7. I believe he's 9th overall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
so
up there.
Puka's going to cost you. You would probably have to give like a Jalen Waddle or someone in that tier plus.
AJ Brown.
I mean,
AJ Brown's right in front of him or behind him.
I would give AJ
Pretty
Brown
close.
for Puka.
I would give
Straight
AJ
up.
Brown for Puka.
AJ Brown worries me with
Diva thing.
that, and if you guys remember, Julio had these lower body injuries catch up to him.
Soft tissue issues, man.
Yep, and they kept catching up to him because an explosive player like that, especially that weighs a little bit more, it takes a toll on him, and then you're going to see it more and more often. And I think AJ Brown, especially with the way this offense is going, and he took everything down Eagles, this could be an interesting offseason for AJ Brown.
I will give you one more takeaway from the weekend. As the tight end whisperer myself, it warmed my heart to see guys like Harrison Bryant, who's an impending free agent, by the way. And I think he's starter caliber in the NFL. Former Mackey Award winner.
Yeah.
Him and Njoku have kind of coexisted, but Bryant's never popped off. Bryant is a guy that I think can do it all, and I think he could sign with a team and be a starter. So again, if he's a guy that's available in your dynasty leagues, I would try to grab him. Also, Brevin Jordan. I know he only had one big explosive play, but dude can boogie. I loved him coming out of Miami. He was my tight end 3, I believe, that year with Pitts and Freiermuth.
He's on a contract year, I believe.
Maybe. Possibly. So Brevin Jordan is a guy that I've liked for a long time. Remember, not all tight ends are going to be Laporta and Kincaid and they hit in year 1. Sometimes these guys is going to be years 3. Sometimes it's year 4, maybe even 5. Look at Njoku. Like he's in year 5 and he's finally hitting the way we've wanted him to for the last amount of years. This is what tight end is. So I always try to get athletic tight ends on my roster and be patient. That's the most important thing, is to be the league that Tyler and I play in, UDPL. Harrison Bryant, Brevin Jordan, both available as free agents. I used some fab and picked them up. And as long as I got roster spots, I'm going to stash them. Because if these guys sign with a team, I think they're starter caliber players in the league. So if anything, the tight end play, we talked about Ferguson. Laporta played and scored a touchdown. Like there was a lot of really good young tight end play in these playoffs this weekend. Dalton Kincaid led the team in receiving. Like
Kyle Pitts could be revived finally.
It's true.
Did you hear that he came out with he had a PCL tear
and MCL
season?
Injury?
Yeah.
Yep.
Keeping it under wraps.
He was not.
Sounds like Arthur Smith.
He was not fully healthy. Yeah, Arthur Smith just went into the locker room. Hey, Pitts, what? Clink right in the knee. No,
you're not hurt. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
we just want to play you this game.
I think we've all noticed because his pro day was explosive as shit. Like Pitts was awesome on his pro day.
Explosive shit. Did he go to Chipotle on his pro day?
Yes, Taco Bell and Chipotle on the drive there.
Oh, the double up. No.
And then went in and out afterwards.
Yes.
Pitts.
He went in and never came out.
This whole season, if you watched him, even on he was open, but he just didn't make those sharp cuts that you're used to him seeing from his rookie year. So Kyle Pitts is a massive buy, especially if Belichick goes there. Like Belichick's gonna be like, look at
anybody
this guy.
goes there, honestly.
Yeah.
I just traded for Kyle Pitts this week in my home dynasty league. It's a contract year league, salary cap. Put it this way. I traded Cole Kmet and 4 years left on his deal at $1.2 million. Plus I threw in Asante Samuel Jr. to help with the cost. I got Kyle Pitts for $3.5 million, but I can extend him for 5 years, which is what I'm going to do. So it cost me in essence, like a couple $1 million on a $150 million salary cap to get Kyle Pitts. It's not tied in premium, and I already have Sam Laporta. But to me, I see an opportunity to buy low on an elite talent. And you know what? Maybe Laporta gets hurt and I have Pitts as a backup, or I play the matchups, or Pitts rebounds and I sell him off and make a profit on it. So for me, anytime I can get a player of that caliber on the cheap, the way you look at it, I do like Cole Kmet. It's not anything against him. I just like Kyle Pitts better. We don't know what the quarterback's going to look like in Chicago.
For me, it's legit just this asset was a second-round startup pick, and now he's down to like 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost a lock. He's going to go up at least 3 rounds.
He has to. Yeah.
He has to. Like,
Mhm.
we're talking about one of the biggest rookie years of a tight end.
The only him and Ditka, right? 1,000-yard receivers in their rookie years.
And
What about
like,
Laporta?
No, he didn't hit 1,000
Yeah, he's like 900.
with 10 touchdowns
Yeah.
and 80 receptions. Yeah.
But seriously, like,
He's amazing.
people forget how good Pitts was his rookie year. But yeah, like, for me, this is just like, hey, like, this is the most obvious buy of the offseason. So good trade.
Yeah, so I was all about that life. All right, that's a good way to wrap up some observations over the weekend. So we are going to bring you a mock draft. We're going to redraft 2022 and 2023 all together. I have the first pick. James, you said you're going second.
Yeah.
Tyler's going to go third. We are going to do super flex and tight end premium. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put the picks in the private chat so we can follow along. I have the first pick. So this is a tough one. And this isn't a player that I was a massive buyer of. I actually don't roster him anywhere. But we've seen this player ascend in his rookie year. They just won a playoff game. It's a super flex format. I'm taking CJ Stroud 101.
That is pretty fair. I was going to take him if you did not.
He's up to QB 4, I think, in DLF ADP. Or 5. He's up there. He's gone way up.
And I mean, a player, and I'll follow that, like a player that has gone way up from the very, very bottom of his draft, Brock Purdy. I'm going to take it the 102 here in a super flex.
Brock Purdy, okay.
Oh, Brock looking pretty good.
All right, I'm going to surprise some people, and I'm going to go Anthony Richardson. I mean, for me, there's another asset that is just going to fly up the boards once we see him start, and hopefully he stays healthy. This is definitely a risk, but the reward is so good.
It is so good. All right, well, I got all sorts of choices here. Give me 1 minute. I got to look. Being the host, I'm not as prepared as we talk because I got to kind of go back and forth, but I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go not quarterback. I'm going to take the first non-quarterback, and I'm going to take Puka.
Damn you.
I'm going to take Puka 104.
I love his value so much.
Well, when you got him, you loved his value. He's not a value anymore.
Nope.
No.
Not a value anymore.
Yep. So we're off to you, James, with the 105.
You know, I almost want to take I almost want to take a running back.
You could. There's some good ones.
Yeah. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to lay it out there like this and say Bijan Robinson. I still have faith.
That was my pick for sure.
I like that pick.
Let's see here.
It's just a lot of question marks with him.
I would really love to take G. Will right now.
I mean,
I thought about it.
But legit, it's the quarterback situation. The Jets curse.
It's the long-term quarterback situation for sure.
I'm actually going to stick with James, and I'm going to go Gibbs.
Fair enough.
I think he is going to have a massive playoff run. There's going to be a series where his value goes straight to the moon just due to the playoffs.
Like his whole workload just changed over the second half of the season. You know, Montgomery starting to give up goal line touches to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like that's something.
And Gibbs scoring from like outside 20 yards too.
Yeah.
Which is something Montgomery just really, I mean, he had a couple of long touchdowns this year, but it started off 50-50 beginning of the season, and it slowly leaned towards Gibbs. I mean,
it's like a 60-40 split, but I mean, Gibbs is the guy you want.
Yeah. I think this player who finished season long, that includes week 18, he finished as the RB2 on the season, which to me is wild because it didn't seem like he had over 1,500 all-purpose yards, 70 receptions. He did it all coming off the ACL tear. It was a little bit of a slow ramp up. But as the season went on, if you had Breece Hall in your playoffs, he helped you win a championship on most teams, not mine, whatever. But Breece Hall absolutely smashed. And I just think I think the Jets are probably going to invest in the offensive line because they need to protect Rodgers, right? They've got Wilson. They've got Hall. I think Hall is a player. I wasn't sold on him as much in the passing game, but he showed that, like, yeah, he can handle a full workload, and he's only going to be stronger coming off the ACL. So for me, Breece Hall at 107 here.
Is this where we're going Sky Moore, James?
Yeah, if Sam Laporta wasn't on the board, because it is tight end premium.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger on Laporta, tight end 1 this year. May go back to back next year.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a good chance.
You would think, but who knows? Who knows? But no, like the relationship there with Laporta and like you said at the top of the show, Goff pretty much cemented a contract for at least, I would think, the next 2 years. Probably
be longer than
4.
that. Yeah.
And I think it's a match made in heaven. I look forward to the production.
All right, I'm going to play a little game and hoping one of the players comes back, but I am going to go Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
Just the talent is way too good. Even with the crap he's handed, he still produces. I mean, he's getting buco targets, and if he has actually somebody throw a decent ball to him, he's going to go off and could be close to the wide receiver 1. He just needs that quarterback.
I like that. Let me update the doing Garrett. All right. I am up at the 110. This is an interesting one. There's a couple players I like here at the same position. I think I'm going to go Chris Olave, and the reason being they just fired their long-term OC. We've seen the Saints have the same offense for a very long time since Sean Payton was there, right? So I think a new OC is going to come in, and Olave was already had a healthy amount of targets, but I think they're going to really run the passing game through Olave going forward. I mean, they might mix in some Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, we saw A.T. Perry. Michael Thomas, I think, is dust. I'm not worried about him at all. You know, they have some good tight ends there. Taysom Hill still dangling around. Kamara's older, but Olave is the future. So I think Olave here over the other wide receiver I was thinking, who hasn't quite popped off yet, but Olave's got the resume so far. So we'll go with Chris Olave at 110. So
I'm throwing my eggs in one basket here, and I am taking your guy, Drake London. I'm assuming that's who you were saying, Doug?
Yeah.
It's about time. Like we saw him start to really come together, and the truth is he really needs a quarterback and a offensive play caller that's going to get him the ball in masses. Like his wingspan to catch a ball is just ridiculous. We all know what he did during the season. And there's just so much room for growth with Drake London. And it's probably going to take a coach, and it's definitely going to take a quarterback. But I'm still claws in on Drake London.
Nice.
That leaves me going to the player that I am very happy came back to me, and that is Trey McBride.
Yeah, you got me, you son of a...
I mean, I don't really need to say much about it. He is a top 3 dynasty tight end for me, and I think he is above Hawkinson as well. So he's tight end 2 for me. You took tight end 1. I'm going to take tight end 2.
Fair.
Nice. Yeah, McBride was the guy I was hoping to maybe make it to me, and he didn't quite do it, and that is okay. All right, let me see here.
There's no players left. We're starting the second round now.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of players left. It's just a matter of how I want to rank these guys. That's always the troubling area here. I'm just looking through some names, stalling, buying myself some time. It's either do I want to go running back or do I want to go
Malik Willis,
wide receiver? Oh yes, very much so. You know what? I liked what I saw out of JSN. So I still think the future is bright for him. He finished, the threshold is like if you can finish with over 500 yards receiving in your rookie year, that's a positive thing. And I think Tyler Lockett, we obviously saw him start to decline this year. So I think Tyler Lockett either, maybe he moves on, maybe he's traded or a cap casualty. But I think JSN is the future there. Had some massive catches for them this season, game winners, which speaks volumes. And eventually they'll get a quarterback upgrade because Geno, obviously, we know in 2022 he had a great year. 2023, he was kind of in between the bad Geno and the good Geno. He was the mid Geno. So I think JSN's future is bright. And I think he's a guy in the offseason that if I can acquire for a fairly reasonable price, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to take him here at the 201.
So you know what I thought of with JSN? I actually had somebody ask me a question on X about trading him away, and I said, well, they are going to interview Ben Johnson from the Lions. You know who Ben Johnson uses a lot?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know who compares very, very well to Amon-Ra? JSN.
Mm-hmm.
They are very similar players.
Yep.
JSN, if they get Ben Johnson in that offense, woo, like, see you later. And
DK can be the Josh Reynolds.
Geno is Goff-esque. He's a poor man's Goff. He can run an offense if it's run
He's
well.
accurate, yeah.
So I love the buying window of JSN right now.
James, back to you with the 202.
Yeah, with the 202, I don't know if I want to go running back or wide receiver. But there's a couple wide receivers that one of them may come back to me. So let's go with Devon Achane here.
Ooh, Achane.
Because
Spicy.
like he is spicy, and I'll tell you what, the Miami Dolphins got what they were looking for in a running back with Achane. We all thought it was a crowded room, yada yada yada. He got himself a lot of playing time just by the talent and the organization and Mike McDaniel knowing what kind of a player he is. And I look forward to seeing that more and often. We know Mostert hit the age cliff, I don't know, peak, maybe of 31 years old.
I mean, he only
for a
scored
running
like,
back.
20 touchdowns?
Yeah, and he only led the league in touchdowns. But hey, there's a time where these older running backs, they just drop off and we don't know it's coming. But I mean, he's 31. We know it's coming. Devon Achane, his value, we saw what he could do when he didn't play. This past week, he had a really good game.
I'm glad you took him because I'm out on Achane at his current price.
Well, it's like a draft. So
No, I know.
All right.
There's other running backs I would have taken over him here.
Here's my shock of the night.
Interesting.
Shock of the night. And let me grab a big giant plate of crow because I'm going Jaden Reed.
Yes!
This guy is only going up. So
I mean,
Finally
we
seen
could have
the
waited
light.
to the last pick of the draft for that one, but
no, there ain't no way. Especially with Doug here. No, come on, James.
I mean, it's
No.
only 2
Hey,
3.
here's another hint. Know your drafters, people. Know who you're drafting against.
Have your notebook ready. Shout
Yes.
out to Leo.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Leo. But yeah, this guy scored so many touchdowns in so many ways. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. Christian Watson dream is done. And I think it's going to be Wicks who's going to take over for Watson.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Dobbs as the red zone guy. But Reed is going to be the between the 20s, just getting Buko targets, Jordan Love's favorite weapon, and also a little bit of a tight end they got there. I'm not going to mention names because who knows if he gets picked. But yeah, I love Jane Reed's in this offense, and he's going to become Jordan Love's Randall Cobb. And I think he might be better than Randall Cobb was when he was in his prime. Because Randall Cobb wasn't as fast. So
No.
Jaden Reed.
He does have beautiful eyes, however.
Yes, very beautiful eyes. So Jaden Reed, yeah, I think right now is where you should go and get him because he ain't getting cheaper. He's only going to go up. So go and get Jaden Reed.
Yeah, this is a spot where there's a lot of players that I like that are very closely bunched in together. And for me, it's about positional, not scarcity, but it's all about position. Like when we talk dynasty, like, do I want to take a receiver that can last 10 years or a running back that might be out of the league in 3? Like, I think I'm going to go wide receiver. So for me at 204, I'm going to take Jordan Addison. I really liked what I saw from him. We obviously don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like in Minnesota. It's probably going to be Kirk again. If not, I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm not too scared. But Addison played like a 1 when Jefferson was out. He had some really big games. He finished with, I believe, just about 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns on the season, which is impressive for a rookie. He looked the part, and I really like the future for Jordan Addison. So I'm going to take him here at the 204.
I was between him and Reed, but I think Reed has obviously a better chance of being the alpha there.
Yeah.
I think we're forgetting one.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to take Tank Dell.
Oh,
right
yeah.
here.
That's a good
Tank
call.
Dell's good.
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, he ended the season wide receiver 39 and didn't play from week 13 on.
Yep.
So
I would say Reed and Dell are there next to each other.
I don't know. I mean, if we go back and look at the game that Green Bay just had, Reed had 3 targets, but didn't really get anything done.
No, he was quiet.
He was very, very quiet. I think Tank Dell, I don't think
Also
you're
had
going to
quiet
see
games.
many quiet games from Tank Dell. His target share is through the roof. It's 1A, 1B when Nico Collins and him are on the field, sprinkled in with the tight end wherever need be. And I think, we go over this episode after episode. Stroud recruited him. They are best friends. It is the Cooper Kupp and Matthew
That was the
Stafford
narrative
of the
to
new
buy
era.
into last year.
So I'm buying. I'm full blown. Drop your bank account in that bucket because
I said it on this podcast a few times. Like,
it's real. The relationship's real, and the fantasy production is definitely going to be real behind it. And I'm all about it here in the middle of the second round.
I feel like a lot of these guys right now, if you've got a late first, go and trade that late first for these guys. Like proven production, and the love of the rookies will start coming into the field.
Once the combine hits,
yes.
that buzz is those picks will start to, the temperature will be turned up on them.
100%. I'm gonna go into the and Quentin. No, I'm kidding. Not Quentin.
Desmond Ridder.
We are going Dalton Kincaid.
Very nice.
This is a decent pick. I thought about him over Trey McBride, but then I remembered Trey McBride is a beast and will be a beast in this offense. So
that is true.
Dalton Kincaid, his value will go up, and Josh Allen is. Speaking of going back to the wild card weekend, Josh Allen just proved he is a beast.
I like that. Hold on. I'm doing some quick research here as we're talking. Ooh, this is still a lot of good. We could probably push this to 3 rounds if we really wanted to.
There's a lot of players.
There is a lot of players. I'm going to
Rasheed Wallace.
Rasheed Wallace with that little weird white spot.
Isaiah Spiller's still available.
That's true. At 207, I'm going to take James Cook over a couple of other running backs here. And the reason being, we really saw James Cook start to cook after Ken Dorsey was relieved of his duties as OC. So for me, they finally realized that, James Cook is a very versatile player and is very good. He ended as the 4th leading rusher in the NFL this year, which another wild stat. But James Cook has potential for a 1,500-yard double-digit touchdown season next year. And I think they believe in him. I know he's had some fumble issues earlier in his career. The depth chart behind him is Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson. They actually released Leonard Fournette today from the practice squad. So no Super Bowl Lenny for the Bills. Maybe they don't go to the Super Bowl now. Who knows? But I like James Cook at this particular value at 207.
I like that pick.
Thank you. I know you would.
It's not bad at all. I don't know if I could put another player over him. I guess I could, but I don't know if I want to. It's time. Bryce Young.
Thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting number 1 101 draft capital. Hey, every quarterback has a down year. Maybe it was just his first year. Or
Trevor
maybe
Lawrence had a down year in his rookie year.
Maybe he's a traveler through the league that we don't know about, like Baker Mayfield. Those things do happen. But either way, I'm here for it. He is their franchise quarterback. They are going to get a new play caller, offensive coordinator, head coach, GM. You name it, they need it, especially at receiver. I don't believe that DJ Shark is the answer there. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, wait, who else? Yeah, there's nobody else there really. So,
all right, I'm doing it. I have 3 players I'm thinking about, but for me, we are going to see him this next weekend. He had a bye week, and it's Zay Flowers. I think there's another player where I think I have a feeling
it was between him and Bryce.
A big playoff run is coming for Zay. Him and Isaiah Likely, if Andrews don't play, their value, I feel, in my gut, in my plums, will shoot through the roof. Zay is just built for this offense. And when he gets comfortable with Lamar a little more, when they get on schedule, I think will be the wide receiver one there.
It was between, if you didn't pick him, it was between 2 players for me here. One was Zay Flowers, and the other one is going to be my pick at the 210. And that is rookie wide receiver of the Kansas City Chiefs, Rashee Rice, who, another league winner. If you promoted him from your taxi squad in the last 6 weeks of the season, I believe Rashee Rice was wide receiver 4 in that stretch. So just a consistent, he was averaging 80 yards a game, almost a touchdown a game down the stretch. And Rashee Rice was just consistent. And we saw it again in the playoff game. He scored a touchdown. He had another touchdown get called back. So Rashee Rice, we know the Chiefs pass catchers are booty cheeks. Travis Kelce is aging. They'll probably either do something in free agency or the draft. So that could affect Rashee Rice a little bit, but he's already got that year of rapport with Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick trusts him. He trusts Rashee Rice. He doesn't trust MVS or Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore. Or Justin Watson, he trusts a little bit. But Rashee Rice is clearly the best pass catcher, and that's including Travis Kelce on this team right now, because I think Kelsey's probably banged up. But, yeah, Rashee Rice at 210, put it on the board.
Very nice. Very nice. I am going to go running back here.
There's a screaming value.
There's two running backs that I have my eyes on, and I think I'm going to go to the one with zero competition in the backfield, and that's Kyren Williams for the LA Rams.
I forgot about Kyren.
All right, 5th round draft capital. He snuck into the back of this draft.
I feel stupid.
Oh, stupid.
I feel stupid.
No, I knew, but
No,
it's
I
it's
mean,
a running back.
It's a running back. But you know what? Like, he's handling 20 plus carries a game all the time. He's touching the ball 25 to 30 times a game, and it's
the Rams
just massive
cycle
production.
those guys out.
What? I'm sorry.
The Rams they had Gurley, then they went to Darrell Henderson, then they find the next guy that can handle.
Well,
20. I mean, I think Kyron's better than Darrell Henderson, obviously, but
Kyron's a very good player.
He's a very good player, and it took a
He's an
system
outlier.
to show it. Yeah, and it was just that he had a bad combine. He was really slow in his 40. I think that turned a lot of heads away.
If the Rams draft slow players like Puka and Kyron, you just want to draft them.
Yeah,
because they're just good football players.
They have a very high football speed, like pad speed. They need to run the combine in their pads, really.
No, for me, go back and watch Kyron at Notre Dame. People are like, oh, he's not fast. This guy had 80-yard runs almost every single week at Notre Dame. I have alerts from my phone for
Slant
college
pass.
football for Notre Dame. And every time when he was there as a senior, it'd be like Kyron Williams, 60-yard run, 40-yard run. It's just like he is a very good player. He's in the right offense. And heck, maybe he's one of those guys that gets $6 million a year and just stays there for a couple more years after his contract's up. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's just one of those guys.
I'm okay with it. I mean, hey, if you have him on your squad in Dynasty, I mean, it's a good time to sell.
This is where things get very interesting. I have a couple players in mind. One is the diva himself. And the other one is 2 players on the same team.
Ooh.
But I am going to go a player I think has more all around. This is so tough because I do really like both players. I am going to go with. I'm going to go Zach Charbonnet.
Okay. Interesting.
If Pete was still there, Ken Walker is my pick. Pete's not there anymore.
He's in the front office.
I'm going to go maybe. I mean, nothing's been, put in stone. For me, I'm going to go with the younger player, a player that they drafted last year and showed more towards the end of the season. Ken Walker gets hurt every year. He's been playing.
He gets dinged up for sure.
He gets dinged, yeah.
But Zach Charbonnet to me is that pass catching role type player that has the body of a first and second down back. So I'm gonna go Charbonnet and hope that his value goes up. I know most people will probably, think I'm an idiot, but I think Charbonnet is a massive buy this offseason.
Yeah, he didn't live up to his full potential in year 1. Kenneth Walker got the majority of the carries. I'm with you.
Do we want to push this thing one more round?
Nah.
Just leave it at 2?
I think everybody gets the gist of these have been 2 very, very good drafts.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about there's Rashad White, Ken Walker, Christian Watson haven't been drafted.
George Pickens.
Yeah,
Jameson Williams. There's some
Sky Moore.
Desmond Ritter, Greg Dolchik.
Kenny Pickett.
Damian Pierce. He's still out there.
We got Luke Musgrave still.
Pacheco.
Sam Howell.
Pacheco.
Isaiah Likely.
Likely.
Lots of good players.
Are we wrong for not putting Sam Howell on this list anywhere?
No.
Okay. He's
Because
not going to be the starter next year.
His future is so
cloudy,
shady.
Yeah, Washington's going to take a quarterback at 2
with a chance of meatballs.
The best thing about doing this exercise is showing value and players that you can go out and trade your picks for. Yeah, we're showing second, third round picks that hit, but it doesn't usually always happen. So go out and trade for veterans. Like, it's okay to trade your pick. Your pick isn't going to hit most of the time. Like,
especially if you're in the late round.
Yeah,
like back of the round rather.
A late second. Like last year, you had Laporta and Musgrave.
Jaden Reed, Rice.
If you can go out and get these guys like Jaden Reed that you know for a fact have already hit when the rookie draft's going, because everybody's going to be chomping at the bit to get these rookie picks. Trust me, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
I would trade the 111 for Kyron Williams.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're a contender and you need running back.
Because I'm a contender if I have the 111.
Yep.
Mainly.
So and like Bryce Young, say your team is stacked and you're just like, you know what? I'll trade an early second or mid second for Bryce Young.
I'd rather have Bryce Young than Bo Nix, who you'd take there in a super flex league.
Yeah, Bo Nix.
Or JJ McCarthy.
Bo Nix is like 32, I think.
I think he just turned 32. Actually, he's this generation's Brandon Whedon.
Yes. So yeah, these are fun exercises. Just go back and be like, I wonder what kind of value. This is where the off season is, where you can go out and kind of test your dynasty day trading skills per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's the best time to sell picks is coming up. The best time to acquire picks is in the season, if you can, to get those second and thirds. First, maybe not so much. People tend to hang on their firsts for a long time. But yeah, I agree with that totally. And maybe you can even use some of these players to tier up to another tier. Like if I've got Jalen Waddle on a team and I've got a mid-second, maybe it takes Waddle in a mid-second to move up to Puka. Like if you want to do that, to use those picks to tier up. Because I think you should always rank your players in tiers, not just go like, 1 through 12. Like you should have your own personal tiers that you make, because the important part of that is you want to kind of fade out the noise. We get influenced, I think, as fantasy people, we get influenced too much by outside noise. And sometimes that can help us find players, right? Like it's one of the things that I really liked about Jaden Reed, not only his tape, but when I start to hear people like Matt Harmon and JJ Zacharyson really like Jaden Reed, then my ears perk up a little bit like, oh, I liked what I saw. Now it's just a matter of like, it's being validated that like, okay, my eyes aren't lying to me and other people like them too. That's how I process things. I don't not have thoughts and just listen to what everyone else says. And I feel that can happen in the dynasty community. So
100%.
That was my biggest issue to start, was listening to everybody else and not going with my gut.
Mm-hmm.
I love Tyler Boyd. People gave me a hard time for really liking him. And he's been a fine player, but early on in his career, he was a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yep.
I got a lot of crap for liking Kyron Williams.
You did. That's true.
And,
CJ Prosite.
CJ Prosite.
So fun story before we wrap up. I was snow blowing today. We got like 3 or 4 inches of snow. So I was snow blowing and I had the most random dynasty name thought. Malachi Dupree popped into my head as I was snow blowing. I was thinking about LSU receivers for some reason, and Malachi Dupree popped into my head, who was like a huge prospect, like 5-star recruit, this, that, and the other thing, and didn't even get drafted, if I remember correctly.
I got one for you. Jake Matthews. Remember his rookie season?
Everybody's
like, this is no.
Jordan Matthews?
Jordan Matthews.
Yeah,
Matthews.
He is still in the league. Which is wild.
Which is nuts. Because remember his rookie year? Like
he was good for
he
Philly.
Had a ton of catches, and everyone's like, "This is."
He switched to tight end.
It wasn't that Travis Fulgham too.
That was like 6 games.
I saw Travis Fulgham get sold for second-round picks, and that was the easiest flip in history.
I was one of them. I got a second-rounder for Fulgham, and it was
easy.
Glorious.
Yeah. But no, Malachi Dupree is my. Maybe we should do this. Should be a feature at the end of the episodes. The random dynasty player of the week.
You know what we should do? We should go over, like, because in MFL you can go back and look at trades you've made in leagues and draft picks.
Or drafts you can do, yeah.
We should go over our, like, best draft picks,
worst.
Going back and worst, and best trades and worst trades. Like, that's always a fun exercise.
That can be a fun one.
We'll figure things out.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, Malachi Dupree, random dynasty player of the week.
I like that.
Before we wrap up, I did want to give a shout out to Manscaped. They've got a brand new lawnmower out there. I think it's the 5.0 or the premium or something. I don't have it yet, Tyler. Can you send them an email? Can you send them an email?
Either.
All right. Well, let's get that. And when you use code DHH, you'll save 20%. You'll get not only the ear and nose trimmer, you'll get the lawnmower itself to take care of all your private bits or your face, whatever. I mean, however you want to use it. You don't have to use it down there if you don't want to. If you want to grow a big bush like Tyler, feel free. Fire bush in the house.
Cold up here, man.
That's right. You got to keep that. You got to keep that bush thick. So yes, they've got awesome stuff. You're also going to get cleanser, wash. You're going to smell good. You're going to taste good. Congrats. So awesome things on manscaped.com. Use code DHH. Save 20% today. And also check out Dynasty Nerds. They are in full swing with their rookie profiles. I was watching Rich and the gang on their podcast this last week. They did a mock draft already because it's mock draft season. Everybody's mocking. It's all over the place, which is kind of fun to see, but also at the same time, it's a lot because everyone's doing very similar content. We chose to mix it up a little bit, so go us. So check out Dynasty Nerds. Yeah, they got the Nerd Herd. You can join them for 15% off when you use code DHH. They've got Prospect Film Room. They've got team analyzers, extra podcasts, extra videos. They have a ton of stuff over there. So Rich and his team, one of the best in the business. Not quite as good as us, but for what they do, I would say, they're a little bit more versatile. Podcast-wise, they got some work to do. They got a fancy studio and fancy cameras. Like
we've been there.
They can all go together and hang out. We can't do that.
It's all right. It's okay.
It was acceptable. And that's where I gave my take on Nico Collins, and you're welcome.
All right,
because James stole Ramondre.
We're done. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. For Tyler, for James, I'm your host, Doug. We will see you next week on the Dynasty Happy Hour.